Hi everyone. All right, starting to get my virtual set up. Okay, we're here. We're starting a live video, so we have about a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Let's see, let me make sure. It looks like we're live on both, so that's good. I'm getting better at this. Yesterday it took me a couple minutes, so this is good. Today we're going to talk about how to go virtual and prepare yourself to go virtual if you haven't already, or if you need more, you already are virtual and want some tips and tricks, we can get you started. So this is cool. All right, I wish I could, I'm not very good at figuring out who's on, so, okay. So I wanted to see, I didn't do a very good job yesterday trying to follow comments and questions, so cool. All right, we got Amy on, Caitlin's on, this is great, so. All right. So again, we're going to talk about ways that, 5 ways that you can get prepared to go virtual. I'm kind of emotional today. I am really just thinking about the businesses that are impacted by all this, the the employees that are impacted by this. I know everybody wants to make the funny Facebook memes on how everybody's overreacting, but regardless, businesses will get impacted in a very large way, and employees as well. So I hope to be able to do my part with the knowledge that I have and be able to serve you guys in any way that we can. So I'm a big believer when people are struggling, we all work together to help build each other up. And so I feel like this is the time to do that. So I just felt called to do this live video. The leadership team, we were all just thinking the same thing. We're like, how can we serve? Sometimes we take for granted what we have, and we have this virtual environment, and it's not going to impact us in the same way. So I just heard my Slack go off, so I'm going to close that so you don't have to hear my chimes. Okay. So I think we're almost there. Another minute, and then we'll get started. So this is great. Oh, yay, Everett's on. Hey, how you doing? So Everett, we met on a plane and we hit it off. So we were flying back from Funnel Hacking Live 2020, and we never met there, but on the plane we met. And it was like, I don't know, was it 5:30 in the morning? And everybody else was sleeping, and we literally talked the whole time. And so we never got a nap in, but we really hit it off, so that was cool. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, what we're going to be talking about is 5 ways to really be prepared to go virtual. And yep, let's go fly again. That'll be cool. So I like I said, I'm kind of emotional today about this. I've spent literally my entire adult life trying to serve entrepreneurs better and find ways to serve them, and so this one's impacted me. And because 2008 impacted me, I literally lost everything in 2008. We knew we were ready. We knew another recession was coming, and it was only a matter of time because it had already been 12 years. And so now I'm older and wiser, and I realize just how much these things can impact people. And so I just am like, how can we, I don't know, this one feels different. It feels like it's going to even be more widespread, hit businesses in a bigger way, and employees in a bigger way. And so I just wanted to see how I could help and get my message out. And so in the midst of that, though, like yesterday I was at an event, and I happened to talk to a lady. She was the executive director for a nonprofit. And once she heard kind of what we did and kind of things that I do to help businesses, she's like, oh my goodness, I just need to talk to you. And so we're going to be setting up a time where I can just talk to her and hopefully give her some guidance and insight. And you could just see that she's a nonprofit. So like nonprofits are the first to feel the pain in these types of situations. People stop giving. And then on top of that, like the fact that events are closing. So that's where they make most of their money, is in events as a nonprofit. And so you could just tell that she was worried and she needed to change things up. But at the end of the conversation of having it with her, she had a sense of hope and energy. And I thought, like, that's, if I can give that to people and have them get a sense of energy through this and not be so fearful, that's what my goal and my hope is. So with that being said, I'm such a true believer that we can find good in the midst of trials. And so I've thought about like every trial I've ever experienced in my life, and I realized that either I was meant to learn something from it, somebody else was meant to learn something from it, or it steered me in a direction, or the company in a direction, or whatever it is, and in the way it was meant to go. And sometimes it's all 3 of those, and those are the moments when you realize, like, oh, there's supposed to be something that came from all of this. And so I think about like this whole thing that's happening, like it very well could create a movement of people wanting to realizing the importance of the work-life balance, realizing how we can do things virtually now, and how times have changed where we can be productive online and we can have trust online. And so I hope to be able to inspire that and not have it feel like this thing that's very fearful. And one of the things, so you know a little bit about me, I really am committed to people being true to their life purpose, so I can inspire others to be true to their life purpose and really have them become their best selves and figure out how to do that. And I really believe that through entrepreneurship, like if we do that, if we're true to their purpose, like that is going to like impact the human experience in families and communities and in the world. And that's really what I'm hoping to inspire that. And I really believe that through virtual, you can do that more than ever, because people can get to all their priorities and their commitments more than they ever could before. So I'm hoping that you'll get inspired by some of the things that I talked about today. So let's see, at the end of this live, I'm going to read you a statement from one of my dear friends and colleagues on our team. She wrote kind of a testimony of her experience being virtual. So I'm going to share that at the end. And then if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in here and I'll try to capture them and do them at the end. If not, we'll go back through the comments and make sure that we promptly address them. So let's see. So first I wanted to just talk about my journey a little bit of being virtual and how we got to being a place of virtual. We've been virtual now for about 5 years. We have a team of, I believe, over 50 now. And we have an amazing culture. It's, we don't do everything right, but we do a lot of things right. And I hope to be able to share those with you. And so the way it started, so I started out virtually at my home office. I had quit my job and had this vision of doing virtual stuff for companies and did that out of my home office. And that was back in 2006. So that was before the crash of 2008, before all that happened with the housing. And so when 2008 happened, like all my clients like crumbled. I didn't have anything left and I needed to figure out a way to make money. And so I ended up starting a tax practice. My background's in accounting and finance. And I realized that I thought I needed a place to meet with clients. So I got an office, and then shortly after I got divorced, and then I had to, I couldn't afford both. I couldn't afford a house and I couldn't afford an office. So I literally lived in this little 600 square foot office. My two kids that I had at the time, I still have them, but I have more now. But they slept under the reception desk. And then in the back of the office, I had a cot, and that's like where I would work. And then I just kind of got caught up in the hustle and bustle of thinking if I had a big office and I had lots of employees, like that is what would show success for me. And so I started to get bigger offices thinking, I'm going to, if I just build it, they will come. If I have a 4,000 square foot office, it will come. If I have 20 employees at the time that I can't afford and we don't have enough work for, like they will come. And that's not true. And eventually it caught up with itself and it kind of crumbled in and of itself. And I also didn't have a good culture and a good team environment. And so I just learned all the wrong things of what not to do. And so I, out of necessity, I ended up going from a 4,000 square foot office to a 600 square foot office thinking, okay, I'm gonna hold on to this because I still need it for client meetings and trainings. And then eventually we struggled trying to find good talent locally. I live in Boise, Idaho. And so we started to go outside of Boise to see if we could recruit and do virtual. And we started to realize we could get better talent and a better pool of people. And so it's just really ballooned from there. And then the office that I had was starting to get dusty, and it's like, that doesn't make sense to even have it anymore. And being a mom and trying to be a CEO of the company, I realized like I can be my best self being virtual. A lot of times the team I had at the time was like, oh, Mia must not be working because she's not in the office. And so I was able to be my true self by being virtual. So we went 100% virtual. It was probably about 5 years ago, and we've scaled the team in a beautiful way. I've learned from all my past mistakes, and we try to do it right. We try to make sure the people that are on our team are true to our cause and our why and our core values, and we really make that our core, and then make everything we do off of that. It really is about the culture, and really putting the customers and the employees and your strategic partners first, and making sure that you're serving them. So that's kind of a little bit about me. We really built a team that it's not gig and freelance type team either. We're a legitimate company with legitimate employees, and we really have built it virtually. And so those that are like truly a brick and mortar with employees or teams, or maybe you're small, or you're looking to maybe start a team, like whatever your experience, most likely I've had some version of that. And so, I hope to be able to show like how a lot of the traditional things that you did in an office can be done virtually, and I believe even better, and you'll see why. So first, or not first, I've already done a few first, so let's go to the second and third thing. But pros and cons of being virtual. And I get asked this a lot, like what are the cons of being virtual? And so I tell people like there really aren't any. Like the ones that are and I know that most people are like that's a cop out, there has got to be something. As like the ones that are cons, I have to say like it's worse than a brick and mortar. The only thing I could come up with was like, okay, if I need to learn how to plug in my computer, or I need to learn how to start a Facebook Live like I did. My team couldn't do that for me. I had to figure that out. And, but, you know, so you have a couple of those things, but ultimately, I listed a couple things. So about being virtual, or about the pros. So you have a bigger pool to hire from when you're virtual. When you're virtual, you only have productivity and communication to go off of. Like you don't have to worry about if somebody comes in holy jeans, if they didn't empty their trash. Like all of the office politics that typically are there go away with virtual. Like you literally only can go off of productivity and communication. And so it literally weeds out a lot of the toxic people or the people that are dishonest. Like everything is tracked through like instant messages or recorded videos. And it's not that we're micromanaging, it's just that that's the way we communicate, and the way that we can make sure that we don't misinformation. And so when people do try to lie their way out of something or not communicate, like it sticks out like a sore thumb, because again, all you have to go off of is communication and productivity. So you can spot dishonesty better, and you'll weed out kind of the toxic people. And I'm a firm believer that trust can be built virtually. I literally didn't even meet my executive assistant until like 3 months, like physically until like 3 months after she worked for me, and she even lived in the same city as me. Now she was referred to me, so that helped build the trust. But I'm just such a believer that you can build trust online, and so those are I love it. And if you need more testimonials, like I will get my team on here, and they can talk about all the pros and cons of. We've had team members that when they traveled to Florida, like, hey, let's hook up. I'm gonna be in Florida on vacation, and then they literally post pictures of meeting somebody for the first time. And I think Sue's on here. Her and Allison have met a couple times now in Florida, and it's just really cool to see them take the initiative to make those friendships and virtually. And so. If you're an employee that's on live, you should make some comments about how you like working virtually. So that'd be awesome. All right. So the other thing I wanted to mention, and this isn't often talked about, I think, when you read a lot of virtual articles, and it's one that I've thought about just because of my experiences, and that's where if you're 100% virtual versus partially in the office and partially virtual, like what are the pros and cons of that? Like, I really believe that being 100% virtual is way easier than having some of your employees virtual and then some of your employees in a brick and mortar office. And the reason is because all of the levels of communication are on the same wavelength. Everything's documented in the same way. Things aren't getting lost. And so, like, if you do have a mixed and a hybrid, most companies I have met don't do this. And that's why usually they'll be like, oh, it doesn't work being virtual. But it's because I believe they're not doing it right. They're not realizing that they need to make the same wavelength of communication in the office as those virtually, so that everybody stays plugged in the same way. So if, let's say, you have swag that you got for the team, and you're all going to celebrate it, and you have this office party, then you need to be conferencing in those people. You need to be mailing the people that are virtually the same thing, and say, don't open it until we have the celebration, and then you all do it at the same time. Like, there's ways around it. If you're using if you don't have an instant messenger thing in your physical office, you need to get one, and then everybody needs to be using instant message for their things. Instead of going to the conference, if you do go in the conference room to do meetings, you need to plug in the Zoom people and then record those meetings. Everything needs to be done the same way that is done virtually. So, hey, Cheyenne. So, let's see. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I can go deeper in that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Just being mindful of that. So as you start to learn what you're doing virtually, always think, how can I implement that in a physical office the same way, so that nobody feels left out? Because a lot of times the virtual people will feel left out in that type of situation. So that being said, I want to dig into the 5 areas that we had talked about, or that I wanted to go over. The first one is meeting structures. I'm not going to get too tactical. I'm going to stay a little more strategic. Next week at noon on Tuesday, so noon Mountain Time, Jeanette, who's my chief operating officer, she is like the how to my why. And so we're going to go a little more tactical and a little more into the how of how we do some of these things. But more than anything today, I want to talk more conceptually and strategically. And then if you have any questions, you can, before then too, you can still message me. And at the end, I'll be going over just ways we plan to be able to serve you better and different resources we're willing to kind of give you to kind of get you through this time. So meeting structures, rule number one, like this is like, if you do nothing else, like do this, is always have your video on. The only exception is if you're sick or you got a bunch of kids running in the background, that might be a distraction. And even then you could put a virtual background on with Zoom. So you don't really have an excuse if you have kids running in the background. Because there's so much that you learn from your body language and the empathy, and that you can see how people are doing. And then you kind of aren't talking over each other either, unless you have a bad internet connection, because you're like, you can read that somebody's going to be doing something, or if somebody's trying to speak, you're like, you're on mute. So that's the other benefit of that. I mean, they'll eventually figure out they're on mute, but it's way funner to call somebody out when they're on mute. And a perfect example of this, so Tara, who works for me, she's like, it was excruciating. I was listening to my husband's conference call, and there were 30 people on this teleconference. They're all called in, right? And she's like, literally, they're like, okay, now who's talking? And they would have to keep asking, because since it's all on audio, they had no idea which of the 30 people were talking. And then when they have to get all the call to actions together, they're like, now who was it that was going to do this? And I was like, she was like, I was dying. She's like, if you just do a video call, you can actually like see it and write it down. You have it recorded, and we're even developing technology where we can actually take a Zoom, transcribe it with the different people with the audios, and eventually we want to take it a step further to develop some ways to build tasks from that. So there's so much that we can do, but I'm going to keep it simple here. You don't have to worry about all the techno and the bots and all that cool stuff. Like, that stuff you can add after you get the basics down, get the communication and the culture down, and then you can start adding fun, cool technology. The technology supports the human experience, and it's always important to remember that. So just focus on the human experience first here, because you don't want to lose that culture as you go virtually. So let's see, what else today? Oh, we do a lot of daily stand-ups. So that's a big thing, is every morning, or whatever the team is, they set their 15-minute daily stand-up, they figure out what they're doing, and they kind of divide and conquer, and then they go for it. So we really do have a traditional team structure in that way, like whether you've heard of sprints or Scrum or those kind of productivity tools. Like, you want to still structure it, not like a gig or a freelance thing. It's hard to make it work in those situations. So let's see, we do fun things too. Before we do long retreats. So there's times we'll schedule a 4-hour Zoom meeting, because it's like, man, we just have to work through this concept. And we'll just plan to have our food ready or whatever, and we'll just dig in. And so there's times to go all in. And then when you first go virtual, you might find that you're going to have more meetings initially, just to kind of get it all figured out. And then your meeting load might start to slow down as you start to get into more of a norming stage. So let's see, we do fun things. We do Halloween contests, we'll do virtual. We have, the team literally mailed us all of these emojis. So we'll do emojis on our Zoom meetings. We have a dancing banana and all kinds of fun stuff. So we've mailed people different swag and stuff, just so that we can add a little tangible into the virtual. Let's see, we've done a popcorn and cocoa segment where I do some moments with Mia, or once a month I'll do kind of vision talk, and those are really important. I'll talk about that more on the communication side. You really only care what people look like from the waist up. So make sure your background looks good, make sure you look good from the waist up, and then put your slippers on and we're good to go. Let's see, record your meetings. Recording meetings, it's not because you're trying to micromanage, it's literally because you can reference it back. If you had a client meeting, you don't forget what they said. I get to where I actually hate in-person meetings, because I'm like, I know I'm going to forget something that was said. It's like, can we just do a Zoom too, and then record it, and then I can reference it back. So I've gotten to where I love almost everything virtual, and you'll obviously see that in my passion. So let's see. So then let's talk about communication and collaboration. For me, as a visionary, it's so important to make sure that I'm communicating with my team the vision and where we're headed and the why. So again, I do those monthly moments with Mia where the team will join on. We'll have, 30, 40 people on the call, those that can make it. And it's really fun. The energy's there. Sometimes we'll do cool, Zoom has a way of doing virtual backgrounds. So even if you can even do a green screen and change your virtual backgrounds. And so Jeanette says, I love my bear slippers. She literally, how many slippers do you have, Jeanette? And she literally went to a photo shoot. We just did a team photo shoot, and she comes there in slippers. I said, oh, we need to capture this. This is the most amazing thing. So let's see. So moments with Mia. So just figure out a way to get your message out there. Put it in an announcements channel in your instant messenger. Also just engaging with the team virtually. So as you choose a different, I'll be going over some tools. But figure out ways you can engage with your team virtually as a visionary. And then whoever your how person is, your chief operating officer, your president, or maybe you just you're small enough where you just don't even have that. You just have an ops person. Like, make sure that they also talk about like the state of the union, like where are we headed, what is the health of the company, where that people want a level of transparency and don't want to be kept in the dark. And virtually, the more you can get some of that out, the more you can maintain the culture that you want to maintain. So here's my opinion of emails and chat. So we use Slack for instant messenger. There's obviously a lot of others. Slack is great. You can create different workspaces. So if you're a larger company, it even works for you. If you're a small company, you can probably get away with one workspace. I think we have like 8 separate workspaces for all of our different channels that we have. So we've used, and we use it pretty in depth. And a lot of times people will send an email and they'll be like, why didn't you get my email? And when you're as fast paced as our company is, like we do so much through Zoom, so much through chat. We jump on a call if we're not getting anywhere, like through chat, like let's just hop on a quick Zoom call. Like there's no reason, like don't be afraid of the video, or don't be afraid of pick up the phone. Like sometimes I think we're so caught up in that everything's got to be email or text. And so if you do send a chat message through Slack, make sure that you also, if you send an email through email, make sure you also send it through your instant messenger and say, hey, I just sent you an email, because you're usually monitoring your instant message way more than you're monitoring your email. And so if it's something that needs to get done, just make this. So actually, we're going to actually do a live on virtual etiquette. So we'll do a whole segment just on etiquette for being virtual. Let's see, what else do I have? Time zones. So time zones is something that you'll have to get used to. You just get in the habit of when you put a time, you always put the time zone with it, and then you get good at converting. We have people on every time zone in the US, so it just gets better. Let's see. And then socializing and company culture. Like this, I know during this time can be really scary. Like, how do we maintain the company culture and how do we do these things? So one is you want to know what your core values are first. If they're not action-oriented, I suggest making them action-oriented. And then celebrating them when people adhere to your core values, or if they've done something to advance the cause of what your company is. If you don't have a lot of those in line, we can help you get some of those squared away. But I'm such a believer in making sure you know what your why and your just cause and your core values are, so that way you can really make sure the team knows how to make decisions. I did a live kind of on some of these topics on Tuesday, so if you want more information, you can go to that live. And so we do a lot of fun things. I already listed some of them, but we have like water cooler channels in Slack where people will talk about, show and tell, or subscribe, they can subscribe to like food channels or different things. So we still get the water cooler and the small talk in, and allows us to build that culture with each other. You want to celebrate wins. We have a Friday bingo. So every Friday before a holiday, we'll do a bingo where we'll do emojis. I don't know. I don't remember how it works, but like they'll do like different emojis, I think, for the bingo, and then throughout the day they'll have them, and then whoever wins, then we send them, I think, a gift card. So those are fun things, and just have fun with it. Like, don't be so stressed, I can't make it work. And we have money set aside to really send them physical things, so it's a way to kind of bring that tangible piece into a virtual world. So those are just some ways to do kind of the culture. I'm also going to start doing live segments where I bring a person from my different parts of my team. So we do a lot of different things. So everything from marketing to sales to service and support to employee engagement to training and onboarding to HR, accounting, fulfillment, like all of these pieces. So we have different core people in all of those. So throughout maybe one live a week, I'll pull in somebody and we'll just do a back and forth Q&A kind of dialogue session. I haven't told them this, so if they're listening to this, they're gonna like, you want me to do what? But so it'll be kind of fun to so you can kind of see the how part, and then go into more detail on how you can maybe implement that in your culture and in your team. Okay, productivity. Again, this is like, other than communication, this is all you have. And people, a lot of times, this is a thing that they probably fear the most. Like, how do I know they're being productive? Because I can't see them. And even though, like, in a physical environment, I can't tell you how many times we all stay in our closed doors and we never even went out and saw each other. So, that you literally only can go off productivity. So it actually is easier in a virtual world to see productivity, because like if they're not producing results for the money that you're paying them, you're going to know that. If they're not communicating on not attending a meeting or why they didn't attend a meeting, like it all just there, you can't let it slip under the radar. And so those types of employees that aren't all in will quickly get weeded out if you're involved in the virtual. That way, if you're all plugged in the same level of communication virtually. A good example is, so like Amy, I just heard that you have a tornado and you have a teacher that has coronavirus. I think, Amy, are you on? And so here's an example where, okay, this is a horrible situation for her. Because we're virtual and we're all over the US, like it's not, that situation, that tornado is not going to impact everybody that's on our team. And so now this is where our team pulls in and is amazing. They're like, hey, when you can't work, like we're going to pitch in, we're going to help you. And it kind of diversifies the risk. And when Florida gets their hurricanes, I'm like, I gotta stop hiring in Florida. We have too many people in Florida because like everybody shuts down when the hurricanes come. No, I won't stop hiring in Florida, but because we're kind of all over the place, it really helps people build people up and help them out. So productivity is actually better in a virtual world. And then I'll talk about some of the tools we use, and those are less important than what they do. So don't get so caught up in like, what's the best one? I mean, I'll kind of tell you what we use and they work well. So Slack is a big one. It's an instant messenger. You can really communicate through channels. You can communicate through direct messages. So you can have channels with different specific things that you're talking about. We'll have an announcements channel. We'll have a small talk channel, different things that you can kind of group different topics together. There's lots of awesome plugins and, again, bots and things you can add in there, but don't worry about all that. Just worry about communicating initially. Just communication, productivity, and culture. Zoom, again, it's the most popular video conference tool. There's tons of them out there. Zoom's probably the most popular. Video is most important than anything else. So just make sure you choose something that you can have video with and that you can record. HubSpot, that's kind of a new one that we started using for, the reason why we do so much in my company is because I love being able to strategize and integrate and be able to see the bird's eye view to help make business simpler for companies. Like we're complex behind the scenes, but we want to make it easier for you. And so like HubSpot has that similar concept where their whole goal is like, that's why they got into marketing and service and support and sales. And we don't use all the elements. We use Salesforce for our service and support side, but just use what you need. You don't need things that are really complex, but that one kind of helps with our client management and some of our marketing. LastPass, or some type of password keeper tool. I think Zoho has another great one. We're actually probably going to be moving to that one. There's lots of great password keepers, so you don't have to remember them all. You just have to remember your master password, keep it safe, and then it'll help you get logged into other ones. Google Suite, like we rarely use Microsoft products anymore. So all of you Microsoft people, like we'll use them for more like spreadsheets that we need more robustness for. But overall, the Google Suite is amazing because you can collaborate and comment on those. And so those are all kind of, the other cool one I use a lot is Loom. It's actually a video recorder that records in the cloud. You need to be careful though, because it's not like, only share videos that you're okay, because it's just a public link. So only use videos that you're okay. If somebody got that link you're okay with. Oh, sorry guys, my video is going. You kicked it. Okay. I think it's gonna stay. Okay, there you are. Okay. So those are kind of just the 5 areas to kind of help you virtually. So again, start simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just again, the culture and making sure you're communicating with everybody is really important. And let's see. I didn't see. Thanks for everybody commenting on like just the virtual work-life balance. That's great. So ways we can help. So my team has done an amazing job freeing up some of my time. So I want to be able to support and have meetings where needed. So like if you want to hop on a call with me and want to strategize for 15 minutes, let's do that. Some of my other team members have some some bandwidth. So like if you just want to get on a call and talk about ways to maybe help you keep the culture in your company, let's do it. We're not out to profit from this. We just want to help you. If you have a tactical question, like how do you even get a Zoom account, and what do you do, and how do you create that in a Google Calendar? Like we can do demo videos with you and get on a call and do a screen share with you. Like we really just want to figure out ways to serve you. Again, we're going to go a little more tactical on the live next week on Tuesday. So Jeanette and I are going to get on a live together and go a little more tactical with this. Ask any questions you have. Let's see. And then we'll also talk about like virtual etiquette. We'll do a live on that. And then let me see. I thought there was something else we were going to help with. Oh, here's the other thing. So we literally have no inside secrets in our company. So like meaning what we do for us, we do for you. So there's something you want to know. If you want to even join a team meeting, we'll have you join a team meeting. The team doesn't know that yet either. But like we really want to be transparent and show you what we have and help you in any way. So just let us know how we can help you. And so that's all I have today. But I'm going to end with just the message from one of somebody on our team, and just kind of a testimony of her. She started writing a blog post about this and her experience. So let me just end with that. She says, there are a lot of people home today that don't want to be, and probably a fair amount not home today wishing they were. While business offices across the globe are doing everything they can to protect their staff and customers in light of the coronavirus outbreak, I have to admit I felt a heightened sense of security as I worked from my kitchen table today, connecting with teammates and clients across the U.S. So let's address one thing. Yes, we are 100% virtual, but we are not writing this to attract customers. We are not seeking, inviting, or hoping that the circumstances of what our country and the world are facing somehow lead to the profit for the center. Our vision has always been more than that, a global vision to serve and empower others. Amidst the fear and the helplessness many feel today, we do, however, welcome being the voice of wisdom in the background, encouraging you to embrace the virtual world in all its glory with confidence, professionalism, and maybe a really cozy pair of slippers. Corporate America was my home for many years. I fought traffic jams leading to elevators, opening doors to a floor lined with conference rooms, and filled with lots of ties and business suits. And guess what? I loved it. Honestly, it was fun and exciting at that phase in life. Fast forward 15 years though, now I fight drive-throughs lines at Chick-fil-A leading to a front door opening to 1,000. I kid you not, Legos and a kitchen table that serves as my desk each day as I help make business simple for teammates and clients across the U.S. And the most incredible part of it all, we get it done. If you have any concerns about virtual work, but the relentless smell of Lysol has you intrigued about the possibilities, maybe it's time for you to start thinking of ways you can take your company to the next level of productivity with a side of comfort. Got questions? We've got answers. So again, direct message me if you have any questions, you want a video, you want to hop on a call with me or somebody on my team that has a specific thing. We really just want to help in any way we can. So spread this video if you can. Get the message out. We are just ready and eager to serve. I have time. My team's taking care of all the work. So I want to hop on a call with you. So thanks everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your day. And we'll see you next Tuesday at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. So thanks everyone. Bye.